So then coming to the end of the chapter, Kaido's, I guess, revealing that they were just flesh wounds and he wasn't actually really taking damage. It was like a paper cut, if anything, because he says, like, you haven't even reopened my own wounds, despite it looks like they have, but I guess they just cut the scarred flesh and they didn't even really open it up, if you will, which is understandable, but I guess it's just revealing that, yeah, Kaido is way stronger than what we even initially thought, and that what they are doing is not really that significant. So it makes sense because he needs to further be set up as this nigh unbeatable opponent. He is easily going to be Luffy's strongest opponent in the series up until this point. Like, the last major battle that Luffy had was, I guess, Katakuri, and Kaido is like so much stronger than Katakuri. It's insane. And then we see another, I guess, ability that Kaido has where he could shoot these wind scythes from his mouth. So that's going back to what he was doing in the previous chapter as shooting that lightning out. So maybe that wasn't Conqueror's Haki. Maybe that was just some ability he has. Like, it goes into his Zoan powers. Like, I guess he just can't shoot fire. Maybe he could shoot lightning and wind or something. Or maybe it's, I don't know, some kind of Haki-esque technique. It remains to be seen at this point, but maybe it's just one of his Zoan powers or something. But then he takes Kiku's arm off to, like, show that, like, yeah, he's, like, really powerful and he's not messing around. And they are super vulnerable at this point, despite them having their big moments prior to this. And also, if you notice, Kiku's sword broke as well. So maybe this is, like, one of the scabbards down for sure. Maybe Kiko can no longer fight in this battle. We're going to see them go down sequentially, possibly, until, like I said, Luffy makes it to the top. But also, I mean, like, Law is here, and, you know, limbs getting lost when Law is around is not really that big of a deal because he can always, you know, just whoop, put it back on, unless, you know, they straight up die, which is always possible. And I expect some of the scabbards, if not all of them, to straight up die in this battle against Kaido. I could totally see that happening. So this chapter was good, it was fine, but this is like starting to get into Dressrosa territory, or at least it's reminding me of that. And Wano was always kind of that way. I mean, this is already, you know, obviously going to be the longest arc in the series. It's almost at like 100 chapters already, and there's still like so much that needs to happen. But like in Dressrosa, it was so unnecessarily long, and there were so many sequences that either didn't need to happen or didn't need to be as long as they were. And I just feel like this chapter is also kind of stretching out the inevitable, and maybe this is a sequence that, or sequences that really aren't necessarily needed. Now, maybe I'm just in the minority here. I'm not saying rush it by any means or anything like that, but I'm saying maybe get to the points a little quicker, get to the big battles or the big moments, because we've been here for so long already, and I think it's about time that we start getting into that stuff. I mean, like I said, maybe I'm in the minority here. Like, for example, once we get past the, you know, the intro pages with the people in the Fire Festival and all that stuff, we see Zoro and X-Drake taking on Queen's army of ice demons. It's like, that's a cool concept, I guess, but where is this headed? Like, is this really gonna have any kind of significance to it? Is Zoro and X-Drake gonna fight Queen? And if they do, is that battle gonna have any kind of semblance of finality to it? It doesn't seem that way, and I know that Queen says that, you know, that floor is locked off by now, but it's like, I don't think anything of significance is gonna happen here. And this is kind of just more padding of this arc that's probably not needed, because maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Zoro and X-Drake fight Queen, and this is like the first big, you know, all-star battle besides what happened with Jack, but he's obviously gonna come back. But it just seems like these ice demon things were just set up to give Zoro and X-Drake and Robin and Chopper and whoever else is down there just have more things to do in the meantime, while everybody else can, I don't know, stretch out their own individual storylines. I mean, the only thing that really seems to be progressing is the Kaido and the Scabbard stuff, which is awesome. I like the pace at what that's actually moving at now that it's actually begun. But I don't know, we just kind of had like this stretch of, I don't know, 10 chapters at this point or something, where it's like, something's gonna happen? No, we're gonna move on to the next sequence. Maybe something's gonna happen there? No, we're gonna move on. And then the next sequence, where we have Luffy and Sanji trying to, you know, get to the top of the castle, but they're getting stopped by more beast pirates, and then we get introduced to a new headliner, the guy with the gorilla arm. It's like, okay, we get another headliner. That's cool, but like, what's his purpose? He's kind of just here to give something for Luffy and Sanji to do, and I guess to just job to Jinbei, although that wasn't necessary because we already know Jinbei is an absolute beast. There's no way that this guy was going to pose any threat to them, and Jinbei didn't even necessarily need to save them, but I guess this just sets up that, hey, Jinbei is going to tag along with Luffy and Sanji and escort them to the top of the tower. And then of course we get the little comical interaction between Sanji and Jinbei, which is fun. I'm on board with that. And I guess this is also setting up that Luffy, Sanji, and Jinbei are going to be the ticking clock, I suppose, for the Scabbards versus Kaido battle, because I guess by the time they make it to the top, the Scabbards will have been defeated at that point. But even then, it's like, is that when the Luffy versus Kaido fight begins, or the first Luffy versus Kaido fight? Because obviously when Luffy finally encountered Daffy, that definitely was not the beginning of the final battle. There was a lot that happened in between Luffy and Daffy meeting at the top of Dressrosa, to the point of, Gear 4. So as for this next sequence here with Yamato, Momonosuke, and Shinobu, I guess this is less of padding and more establishing things. I'm pretty sure this is going to set up the trust between Momonosuke and Yamato, because obviously that hasn't been established yet. Shinobu and Momonosuke were running away from Yamato for like who knows how many chapters at this point. Also, the whole thing with Yamato and Odin and all of that stuff, that kind of needs to be established at this point. So Yamato is going to save Momonosuke, as we're seeing, from the Armored Corpse, which I guess is the unit that Sasaki controls within the Beast Pirates, and that's also makes sense. They're all flying 6, so they would all have probably their own little units and whatnot. And also, this could be setting up a big, substantial fight in Sasaki and Yamato. But I'm also not even going to hold my breath on that, because like I was saying before, like we haven't had any like real fights yet. We've kind of just had, oh, are we going to fight? No, we're not gonna fight. We're just gonna act like we're gonna fight, but then something is gonna happen and then we're gonna go our separate ways. But also at the same time, this could be Yamato's big fight that we're gonna have here. But we've already seen her go against a flying 6 in Ulti, and she took care of her no problem, or at least for the most part. So maybe this fight will be more competitive, but also we don't fully understand the power of all the flying 6 yet. Obviously they're not all created equal, so maybe Sasaki is one of the stronger ones and will actually give Yamato somewhat of a competitive fight. Regardless, like I said, this is pretty much going to establish the trust between Momonosuke and Yamato. Let me know what you think about this chapter in the comments. If you like the review, guys, please give it a like. Also have a Patreon and a Twitch. Check those out, please, and please subscribe. Have a great day. I'll see you in the next one.